I'm Anna Brink. I'm the Director of Federal Programs in Greenville County Schools. Just for some context, so that we talk about ourselves being the state of Greenville. I also did federal programs in Lawrence School District 55, so I do know what it's like to do in small and in large. And so I will kind of give you some tips and tricks as we go through. I have noticed, and I complimented Jewel Deering, our COP, that a lot of these presentations are very much geared towards continuous improvement, ways to kind of get things moving in the right direction, making sure all of those cogs and all of those wheels are moving. So what I'm going to give you here today is nothing new from the state level, but just ways that we are practically aligning them in Greenville. Now, to be fair, we are continuously improving them to make it easier for principals and school leaders to access. So my whole mantra for the 21 years in education, no matter where I've been, is how do I make sure that students can get the best education? Well, as a teacher, that's pretty easy. I had my thumb on it, right? As an assistant principal, it was how do I make sure that the books, butts, and buses are in line so that the teachers can do their jobs. As a principal, it kind of filtered that way. Well, at the district level, the further I get away from it, it's still the same. What am I doing to help make sure that principals have the information that they need, that they can share with assistant principals, that they can share with teachers, or that they can allow teachers to be able to get to the things that they are qualified and capable of doing? So this is my 1,000-foot view of a few things. I would love to hear from anybody else who's got ways to organize. I don't know, how many of y'all are familiar with Clifton Strengths? Anybody in here, Strengths Finder assessment? My number one strength is communication. My second one is woo, which is what allows me to be loud and obnoxious. My third is includer, so I enjoy having people's opinions and sitting at the same table. My fourth one is a ranger, okay? So I am constantly looking for ways to make things accessible to people who are looking at them. And then the last one is just discipline, and that just makes me hard-headed to get it done. All right, so, it's just one of those things, but this is how I organize Greenville County, who has 19 Title I schools. We'll have 20 next year, 27 school improvement schools. Who knows how many we'll have of those, and then we run all kind of other things. So me trying to figure out how to communicate that to different people is very interesting sometimes. So I took a few things from our NAFEPA conference last week that I wanted to share with you, and this is from the federal education update that was given from the Association of Superintendents, okay? And I really liked how she put this in terms of framing the moment. Take a breath, okay? Take a breath. We can do this in federal programs. We take things seriously, but not literally, okay? You look at Facebook or Instagram or all the things, and you take them seriously, but not as literally as some of your friends do that are just reading in the news. You want to know how to access it, so take it literally or seriously, making sure that we know the difference between activity and productivity, which I loved that. Like we can get going spinning our wheels, but if we're not actually getting to anything and making it meaningful, we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, right? And then pay attention to what is said and what is covered, and then what actually gets done. And we are going to be living in this for the next couple of years, right? We hear all of what they're saying right now. We hear what it covers, but now we need to kind of take a breath and make sure that we realize what actually gets done and adjust accordingly, okay? So the first thing that I'm going to show you is just some practical resources for comprehensive planning and organization. All your other State Department sessions and other places are walking you through those processes, what they have available. Now I'm going to give you the practical application, all right? All of these templates are available for you in what I put in Whova. So I won't spend a lot of time, and then I hope to give us a little time at the end for you to actually click on the links and begin to let it kind of sink in. My number one is actually the State Department's website. So when I was in a small district, sometimes it was much easier for me to get the data download from ADT as a matter of fact, I had login access to ADT, right? So I could get the data myself. Well, in Greenville, that takes a hot minute because you got to figure out who has access to this. When did it come? What is it? Because bless their hearts, the State Department doesn't tell you. Send out a memo. We just put some new data in ADT. So for a long time, I didn't even know there was subgroup data in ADT, the way that it broke it down, until somebody said, "Have you seen the subgroup data?" I'm like, no, right? So just making sure you understand and that you understand practically who your contacts are too. Okay. No, you don't want access to ADT if you don't have it, but you do want to know who does so you can ask for it. Because the more access you have, the more things they ask you to do, right? Okay. So no, you don't want access, but you do need to know who has access to those data files that are not on the public facing side of the State Department's website. The other thing is that sometimes this lags. I know y'all are shocked, but sometimes our data lags. I'm trying to be very nice because all my State Department friends are in here. And sometimes we have to update it 4, 5, 6, 10 times to make sure it's correct. Okay. But the things that I use the most are assessment information, those early learning literacy instructional supports for those of you in my small districts who have very limited amounts of funding. This is a great place to go as you are building out your strategic plan and your long range plan. This is free, okay? So the things that the State Department is doing can be built into a professional development plan that is ongoing as part of a complementary system of continuous improvement. It does not have to be the next thing that you buy. As a matter of fact, we're probably trying to get away from that because we're afraid that maybe the next thing is that we're not going to have the money to buy all the things, okay? Obviously, school improvement, special education services. There's some really great stuff here for all of our ATSI schools. I think it's over 90%, Yvonne, correct me if I'm wrong, ATSI schools are students with disabilities in the state of South Carolina. So making sure that you have those complementary supports there. Obviously, federal ed programs and state accountability, and then grants and test scores. Test scores is your friend, okay? That's where you can get really big data files. Now, I was not a data nerd, okay? I was a history major. I made a C in finite math in undergrad and said, I don't ever want to do anything with math. And yet here I am. So it can be done, okay? All right. These are a couple of things, and I was actually talking to a new friend of mine in Charleston this was shared with me as well at at the FIPO. Now, we're talking about return on investment and making sure that you are tracking every dollar that you're spending. Well, I'm going to go to actually one of these because it's very interesting. So if you go to these, this tells you scatter plots, and of course it's behind a little bit, okay? It's behind. So the spending outcomes, and I'm going to pull up myself, okay? And then you'll notice this is FY23, so it will come back out. But this is going to show you specifically, I can go over here, and I can put in Greenville County, and I'm going to try. See if I don't take too much time to do that. And I think we're listed as the school district of Greenville County, which drives me nuts. All right, so this right here is showing you just Greenville County. So all these little dots are my schools, okay? And if you look over to the side, you'll notice that the ones that are getting the most return, okay, are going to be up here living in this quadrant. Now, when I start going to look at these schools, I'm going to see that Augusta Circle Elementary School is my highest performing school. They are not a Title I school. They don't have hardly any subgroups. They are in an affluent part of our school district, okay? But what this will do is, as I look most specifically about some of these that are outliers that are really performing, okay, and I'm not going to go into all of this with Edunomics. You can go play around. I can start to see where are some of my schools that are Title I, because you're going to notice that a lot of them, if I look at all these, y'all, these are all my Title I schools, okay? But now I will tell you that some of these over here are my ATSI schools, okay? So I can start to lean in a little bit, like JL Mann, that is an ATSI school, right? But they are doing some good things. Now, this is just general information, okay? But it's a good way for you to kind of dip your toe into return on investment so that you can begin to think through. I'm trying to figure out why this is over here, but anyway, so that you can begin to have those conversations at your district level. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. So those are just there for you to look at. Now, let's look at continuous improvement, okay? Y'all have seen this 1.5 million times, right? Your district may have something that is a derivative of this. It is equally research-based that you are currently using, okay? We do. There are lots of continuous improvement models. But if you're a smaller district where you're kind of trying to get it moving, it's already there for you, okay? The State Department has done a great job with the rubric and the process guide. Just use that. So what I said to a group that when we hosted ATSI school improvement, like a focus session, was y'all work harder and not, you work smarter and not harder, okay? When you go to find these things, or when you're a new federal programs director, how many of y'all have been doing federal programs 2 years or less? That's a lot of people, because we used to not turn over as many federal programs people as we do now. And I imagine when we go next year, I already know some of my colleagues, I can put 3 of them on my finger that are retiring. Now, where is Sarah Wagers? Right in front of my face. Sarah Wagers, and I don't think Jennifer's in here, but Sarah and Jennifer have seen me my first year in federal programs. There were tears, y'all, tears, because I couldn't figure out how to get it all moving in the same direction. Right, Sarah? But I got it there, and I'm still learning. So we're going to be turning people over, and one of our constant battles is, how do we make sure we, first of all, get our foot in the door, and how do we make sure we get a seat at the table so that we don't become just some sort of very highly, we've got a lot of strings attached to what some people view as extra slushy money, right? That is not what y'all are. That is not what we are, okay? But you have to be able to work within the things that your district is doing to align so that you can see that. So what I'm going to show you right here is this right here. When you click on and you go through, this was a graphic that I did for some of my principals to kind of walk them through the process of school improvement. Like, when exactly am I doing, now you know this continuous, and you know when they throw school improvement grants at you in like October, November, you start in a different section. But this gives you an idea when you're trying to help building leaders, okay, who are not in the weeds of federal programs like you are, trying to help them understand all those plans that are coming at you. So I have a Title I school who is a CSI school who is in our Elevate turnaround model. They had a turnaround plan due to the state, and now they're on a Palmetto Math project list, okay? Now, you all know very well that almost every one of those comes with some sort of plan, right? So how do I make sure that it all ties for them and they're not just checking a box, right? So helping them first to understand when these things happen in terms of that S is for summer, Q1, all right? This is like continuous improvement visual for dummies. Q2, okay, this is what we're looking at. Anyway, this is just a very general document, okay? You are welcome to use it because I stole it from the State Department. Those are their images, okay? So just being able to get out in front of things is one of the biggest battles. Now, this is one of my favorite things that I do want to show you. Let me see if I can get it logged in, is the school snapshot. And this is something that when we get things like Title I, you're about to have 135. A lot of you are going to have 135 day, and you're going to have to do some allocation just to give them for planning. I'm really hoping this works, and it probably won't. Anyway, you can see it in Whova. But it is a overview of their change over time. So what was their poverty last year? What is their poverty this year? What was their allocation last year? What was their allocation this year? We do an 85% cap on personnel because that's not real money, y'all, until they actually give it to you in October, right? So we do an 85% cap of personnel in our Title I. That's an internal control. You may not spend over 85% of your allocation on personnel because should it come back and you have a lower allocation than what you planned for, we do not want to actually impact anybody's job. Okay, you can take all your other stuff out. If you get a 15% decrease in your allocation come October, which I think we're living in those times where we really need to have those plans in place, that we're okay with the people that we started the school year with. Okay, so you can see those things. I'm sorry that won't do because I really wanted to show you that one, but that's okay. So this is where I want to spend the most of our time, and let's really hope that these will pull up. Okay, this right here is a timeline. Now, this is customizable for you to start. What I will do with this right here is take and they've already given me the dates for our benchmarks. Okay, the dates when that data is going to be available for principals. Any of your professional development from your initiatives in the district, lay it over this. It's got Read to Succeed when that's due. It's got SIC report to the parents. It's got Title I. It's got everything. Trying to figure out how to cull it down to just a sort of a rhythm. Okay, and then you lay your district information over it. So beginning in August, and I've aligned where you would be in continuous improvement over here. But again, your district may have some extra things, or you may be starting the school year, or you may be on year round in July. Adjust, okay? But at least to have a visual for where you can start with your planning is a good place to do. So, making sure that in October is a big month for us, okay? So you've got school improvement. You have to assist with that release and communicating. That's if those schools have turnaround plans that they have to do. You've got to make sure that they're communicating the appropriate way. Any of our new school designations, and you notice over there, we've got continuing those that were designated because we're going to continue till we know otherwise, right? They got to go through October until we know otherwise, so you need to continually implement those plans. But anyway, this is just a good way for you to kind of lay over on top. It's getting your bang for your buck. I remember in a small district, I did titles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our department did accountability and testing and professional development. I also oversaw MTSS, ML teachers, reading interventionists. What else you got, Amanda? Everything else. So it was best for my ADHD that I was not on medication when I worked in Lawrence because I needed to be able to do this, right? And so in a small district, you got a lot going on. We'll put it all, layer it, okay, if you don't already have it. The next thing is, I think this was actually shared maybe somewhere else, but this is our landing page, okay? So each year, and this is a Google Doc, I think a lot of districts are Google, but if you're not, like the State Department, you just have to work within it, right? So this is just, and of course we do theories of action as part of the professional development. We do all of those things, but what I did to this is that I added some notes over to the side, okay? So this is our landing page, but I also wanted you to see how we use this and in which area. So you'll notice it starts with academic priorities. Well, that's the district priorities, okay? So it starts there, and then we begin with their theory of action once we get their data back, okay? So that as we are continuing these, if this school, for example, in October, they needed to do a turnaround plan. We already have their ELA goal and their math goal. We are not going to reinvent the wheel. We are going to pull that ELA goal, pull that math goal, and that's going to be what's on their turnaround plan. And in addition, there is a resource and equity goal. So we have, internally, we have some supports, and that's for everybody. Okay, and so we put that as resource and equity because they get more support from the district level. Okay, if they're a focus or support school in Greenville, and ELA and math is their goal. That also helps with your school improvement grants, who they love to send back and say, how are you helping ELA and math? Well, I mean, how many times do you want me to put it in ChatGPT? Align this strategy to ELA. Y'all think I'm kidding, right? Ask Yvonne how many times she's probably gotten some sort of convoluted, like, I can make it. I can make it if I need to. But you notice that is something that is a continuing, it's an evolution. It is not something that in school improvement grants we really had to worry as much about until recently. And so now this kind of keeps you grounded, right? It keeps you from over-promising and then under-delivering to your schools when you say, oh, yeah, I think you can do that. And then Yvonne sends it back and says, that does not directly tie to ELA or math. So I'm just saying. So you've got those goals there. Of course, you've got your professional development plan. And in a small district, that could be for the entire district, or it could be for a school. But that is something in Title II that it is supported. That's something in Title I that you need to have access to, and how it supports is also good for return on investment. And then you'll notice right there, Title I is school improvement plans. These are individual plans, but they're all on this landing page. We do not want our principals, and there are so many of them, to have to go to any other one spot other than this to say you have access to something on your landing page. So this is where we do that. Okay, and that is just a practical organization, and you may already have that. Listen, you all may already have that, but maybe you can glean something from some of these templates that will help you just even better use what you currently have. Okay, so you'll notice this particular one has Title I, School Improvement, ATSI, and a turnaround. And then you've got here what's in their what's in their turnaround plan, all of the schedules that you have to have for Title I, anything like that, they're all here, and then these are their meeting and data, okay? This is where we keep all the data so that when I go to write a comprehensive needs assessment for 20 schools in one district, I have access to their data already. So I don't need to ask that principal 15 times, can you please send me your data? No, they don't have time for me. I've been there and done that. Okay, I have been a principal. I don't have time to answer the same question over and over again. That slows the process. Okay, and if we know anything in federal programs, it's got to be exams, and then it's got to be approved, and then it's got to be spit back, and then we got to put it in gaps, and then we got to change it with finance. And by the time they've asked for a strategy, y'all, it's 3 months later, and it doesn't look good. Okay, so being able to access it in one location really kind of, again, if you remember, I said, how can I make sure it gets to students and that they get what they need? It's to put internal processes in place like this. This right here is the continuous improvement plan that the State Department has given us. But what I did was just go in and very much make sure that, and I may not be able to get into it. What I did is I put it in a Google Doc, and I embedded the rubric in. Okay. And then at the bottom, you will see on that one that it says, they do it in 30, 60, 90, but I think y'all are going to do beginning, middle, and end whenever it comes in. But you can see where schools have access to just put their rubric rating, beginning, middle, and end. Don't send that rubric to them 3 times. Okay? Send it in one doc where it's attached to their strategies. They can update what their evaluation is at a certain time. And it is really much more meaningful if it is already there for them. Okay, so you have access to that you can use. This is an example of a school improvement landing page. Good grief, Greenville County. I really do want to show you this one there. I want to see if I can get into this one. This is where they keep that. This is where I keep their 3 cycles of any school improvement designation, because then I can archive pages and add them. It's like I don't know my password. Y'all, I've been on spring break for a week, so I'm trying to get myself back in work mode. Okay, anyway, that's all right. This right here is a school improvement decision tree. Now, actually, we were in Joey's session, I think. No, maybe we were in, I don't know. But anyway, they actually had some really good ones, like if this, then this. Okay, so principals don't understand all those things in school improvement that have been explained to us about 16 times, and we still have questions. And they're not explaining it any differently, y'all. They have said the same thing for a long time. It is just hard to understand. So if I were a building principal and my school was just designated ATSI, my first question is going to be, well, how did we get that designation and how do I get off? So that walks you through just okay, you're a school. Answer this question, yes or no. If no, go here. If yes, go here. Okay, and so that's a good way for us federal programs people to get out of the weeds sometimes and get in with schools to be able to say to a group of principals, right? You have a new designation as ATSI. This is what you're going to have to do in November, October, November. All right, this set of schools, you all have been designated as ATSI. Let's sit down and I want you to work through and ask these questions about your data, walk through your data, because if they don't understand, their staff doesn't understand, their students don't understand, their community doesn't understand, and you literally will not get you won't get anywhere because they will be hearing this ATSI school improvement and they'll be like, what are you talking about? They need to understand how they got there so that when you go to do the strategies, you go to spend the funds, or you tell them, no, that is not tied to the funds, that they understand what it is for and how you got there. Equally, how you get off, which is likely more confusing than how you got on, but that's for an entirely different conversation. The last thing that I have in here, let's see if I get lucky. Woohoo! This right here is a federal programs guide. Now, I want you to know that I have unlinked several things because they're internal to Greenville County, but I update this every year. Okay, this is a one-stop shop for anybody who's rolling in, off, around, or close to a federal program. Okay, and so it has our months at a glance. It has our internal controls for different things and any document that they may need. There's your annual sample Title I presentation for any new principal that you've got coming into a Title I school who has no idea how to do that. Okay. Allowability, it has all the school improvement programs to the State Department. It's got all the things. But down here at the bottom, it just then has a months at a glance. Okay. This is just a user-friendly way for school leaders, for district leaders to really go back and say, well, important days in August. I do a Federal Connect Zoom meeting because I have so many of them. This is just something that I do every other month where we take a topic. For example, in August, I send out a Zoom link, 30 minutes. Your principal, assistant principal, manager of the school improvement grant at your school, jump on if you can. If not, I'll record it and put it out. But we talk about, like, for example, in August, we talk about the planning and compliance piece, right? What are you going to be asked to do all year long for compliance in this particular grant? Okay, 30 minutes, it's recorded, and then it's sent out to everybody else who could not be there. Okay, but it's an opportunity for people who I don't normally touch a lot, that maybe have a school improvement designation that aren't a Title I school. It's an opportunity for them to ask me questions because it literally takes about an hour to get from one end of Greenville County schools to the other, and I can't make that many trips. Now, I do if I need to, but this is just a good way to do that. So you can see here, we put all of our amendments in there. Anything we do not use Title I crate. We call ours the Google crate. Just because it's easier with so many things. We just keep it in Google, and then it gets backed up to our system. But anyway, you've got your critical task each month. But this is something that you can use as well. Please feel free to download, update, roll it into what you currently have, overlay that timeline on top of it that I gave you, whatever your organizational style is. I know that not everybody is OCD and linear like me. Okay? Well, actually, I take that back. In here, we probably are. Because if you don't, you'll end up in orange. But if you need that for other people who are not as good at that as you are, to make sure that they understand and can support you, then you have access to it. Okay? So I've got 15 minutes, right? 15 minutes. All right. Let me do one other thing. I think that I want to answer any questions. I want to hear great ideas that your district is doing. I want to give you time to actually go in and click on all these links and see them. But what questions do you have? Yes. Hi.
The landing page that you showed, could you tell me, so I'm new to the state, and we of course have the school improvement side. How does that landing page, like how do you use that with your people? Because I saw, you sort of have, if they're Title I, that's in there too, and if they're NC assigned, that's in there too. So, like, does every school though, no matter what, have a landing page?
Yes. They do in Greenville.
Okay.
Because every school sets goals at the beginning of the year. Every school has a professional development plan. Every school will have pieces. They'll develop a theory of action. They'll do all the things that a typical school would be doing that has no designations. And then we just layer. Yeah.
Piggyback question.
Okay.
So I noticed the instructional learning logs within that. Is that something that y'all do district-wide for all your schools or only the designated ones?
So we expect that to be done in all schools. Okay. What makes it a resource and equity when they get a designation as something else is that we also internally have focus and support, so we know the ones that are struggling with academically. Those are the ones that require district personnel to be on the learning walk. Require district instructional support specialists to be there on a regular basis. Some of our high-flying schools, you saw Augusta Circle, we expect them to do it. We just don't have to be there when you do your learning walks and your instructional rounds, right? But we expect your data to be there because you should be doing that already.
So
all of their data goes there because it's easier to access and control who gets the data, and then give it to the schools. Yeah. Good question.
Right, so logistically, I missed the landing page is what? It's just a Google Doc or is it?
It's a Google Doc. Yeah. It's the one that has all the notes on it.
No, I knew what it looked
Yeah.
like. I was trying to think what platform you had it sitting on.
It's on Google. Yeah. Yeah, it's on Google.
You know, like you're working with them on it, and a month later you're like, okay, put this on your landing page. You're like, how do I find it?
No, that's great. September, we set all of those up. We make sure that in our September principals meeting that they open their Google and their landing page, and then we put a little star on it. We show you how to star it. Now, y'all think I'm funny, but listen, take it and put it there. Star it. And then every day you say, have you gone to your landing page? Have you gone to your landing page? But it's already started. I mean, I have internal ways to organize things, but we at least do that much for them. But they use them so frequently, and their assistant superintendents are in their building. You remember this, 1, 2, and 3, and they use it. They use it exclusively to go through their goal setting meeting. They won't use anything else. They won't even go if your data's not updated on here. So, but again, this has been a slow burn, right? So this is 3 years worth of, and there are going to be some things in there that I even modify in this next cycle of school improvement to make it even more user friendly based on their feedback. But that is just, you just kind of adjust as things happen. Things happen at the state, you adjust. Things happen at the federal level, you adjust. Okay? You have a question?
Yes. So you said this is 3 years in the making, right? So as you're doing this, it's a collaborative work. Who have been your key players? That you would say like non-negotiable. You have to have this department.
That's a great question. Well, it depends on the size of your district because we got a bunch of people, but I would say your instructional leadership people. I am in the academics department, thank goodness. So they're all right down the hall from me. I have been a Title I principal and assistant principal, so it's easy for me to see the connections, but sometimes your federal programs people are finance. They've got finance backgrounds. So your instructional leadership, whoever your finance person is, whether that's a grants manager, whether it's an analyst that you have, it could just be one person. I have a couple. And then I would make sure that somebody from accountability is in that discussion, because they're going to be able to point you to when things come out, when things are due, etc., so that you can kind of, that would be where I would start. I would also suggest asking your principals too. I would, even if it's just in an advisory kind of way, elementary, middle, and high, just to say, what would be easier for you? Here's a sample. Just take this. Here's a sample. What needs to be changed to help us fit our district model in here? Those were great questions. So I've got 10 minutes. You've got 10 minutes. I want y'all to go in here and I want you to pull these things up, and I'll kind of move around and maybe talk at your tables about some of the organizational strategies that you use in your own district. And I also want to make sure all the links work, frankly. So if you'll have a moment to do that, and that way, if there are specific things that you can share out, that would be wonderful. So I'll fix that. And that's why I want y'all to look at it. All right. I tell you what, I'm gonna do it on my computer because I know I can update the links there. Y'all let me know if there are any links that are not accessible. Fix it later. Hold on. Do you have the, are you gonna do a drawing? Who's going? Where did Sarah go? Okay. Y'all don't leave yet. Sarah's gonna do your drawing for your tabs.